legal and personal scandal that's got everyone CNN's Kaitlan Collins. And we're not just talking about your typical tabloids gossip. And Karoline Leavitt is the one holding it. This one's got a federal lawsuit was within his executive authority to do that. Whispers of some serious behind-the-scenes executive branch. If you thought Sonny was just about he has the power to fire anyone within the executive branch that he wishes to. This scandal has got her name. This was supposed to be just another White House press briefing. In the worst way possible. But let's break it down. Caitlin thought she had a gotcha moment. But let's not forget, let's just say it backfired badly. She's been lecturing America tried to corner for years about morality, question, inequality, her to fumble, and systemic failures. Caroline absolutely set the stage with the central figure in this mess and making Caitlin look like an amateur. Sonny's husband. Emmanuel the entire thing happened live. Orthopedic surgeon. No editing, or at least he was, just until this bombshell lawsuit destruction. American Transit, CNN did not want you to see has accused Drew Houston the second and nearly 200 other individuals started running a massive fraud operation, roasting CNN's credibility. And we're not talking about some minor billing errors here. But don't just take my word for it. The lawsuit alleges that these folks were involved in a scheme so elaborate it might make a Hollywood heist movie. Smash that like button. According to the claims, for more Drew Houston was performing unnecessary medical procedures. Did you just like surgeries that patients didn't even need? Let's get into pocketing the insurance money on the free and federal funding. To make it even juicier, who advised the president on the legality of telling government agencies that they don't have to spend money that was already appropriated?
One on the freeze in federal funding. Who advised the president on the legality of telling government agencies that they don't have to spend money that was already appropriated by Congress?
Well, as the OMB memo states, this is certainly within the confines of the law. So White House counsel's office believes that this is within the president's power to do it, and therefore he's doing it.
Okay, so they disagree with lawmakers who say that they don't have the power to freeze this funding.
Again, I would point you to the language in the memo that clearly states this is within the law.
And all that happened on Friday night. The administration fired several inspectors general without giving Congress the 30-day legally required notification that they were being fired. I think only 2 were left at DHS and the DOJ. And then yesterday we saw several prosecutors, I believe 12, fired from the Justice Department who worked on the investigations into the president. As you know, they are career prosecutors, therefore they are afforded civil service protections. How is the administration deciding which laws to follow and which ones to ignore?
So it is the belief of this White House and the White House counsel's office that the president was within his executive authority to do that. He is the executive of the executive branch, and therefore he has the power to fire anyone within the executive branch that he wishes to. There's also a case that went before the Supreme Court in 2020, Scala Law LLC versus the Customs, Bureau Protection. I would advise you to look at that case, and that's the legality that this White House was resting on.
So you're confident that if they bring lawsuits against you, those prosecutors who were fired, that they will succeed?
We will win in court,
and
yes.
Did he personally direct this, given they worked on the classified documents investigation and the election interference investigation?
This was a memo that went out by the Presidential Personnel Office, and the president is the leader of this White House, so yes. Yes,
by organized crime. Well, as the OM memo this isn't just a slap on the wrist. This is certainly within the confines of the law, as it gets. So the White House counsel's office believes that this is within the president's power fraudulent medical and other health care services, including so they disagree with lawmakers who say that they don't have the power to freeze this. Don't stop at Drew Houston. I would point you to the language in the memo that Sonny herself might have.
Talk about the fact that Democrats have been labeling President Trump a to democracy for the better half of 10 years. Let's talk about how they have compared him to one of the worst mass in the history of the world, and that Kamala Harris and Joe Biden weaponized the court system and the justice system in this country against Donald Trump in an attempt to imprison him. He sat through a courthouse for 7 weeks this past year, and the Democrats were hoping he would go to jail for it. That is real political that has led to 2 heinous attempts on President Trump's life that, by the grace of God, he was able to escape, and he is here with us today. So yes, President Trump knows a little bit about political because he's experienced it himself. And talking about the tragic realities of war that Liz Cheney and her father Dick Cheney have got this country into is not political. It's talking about the reality of the foreign conflicts that the Washington, D.C. establishment have sold out young Americans to for decades.
Known within the law about her husband's alleged what happened on Friday night. She's letting on. The administration and fired several inspectors general Sonny became a household name on the 30-day legally required federal prosecutor that they were being fired. That's right. I think her entire career was built on upholding the law and cracking down on corruption. And then yesterday, we saw several prosecutors so thick you could cut it with a knife. People are already speculating that Sonny may have used.
Please, his opponents are saying to this very day the same rhetoric that led to those 2 attempts. The second attempted on President Trump's life echoed the sentiment that President Trump is a democracy. And if you're a deranged lunatic and you're mentally ill, you will believe that lie, and yes, you will take political like we have seen in 2 instances against President Trump. Tim Walz and Kamala Harris said that everyone who showed up to President Trump's rally at Madison Square Garden was a That's despicable, dangerous, divisive rhetoric that is spewed by the Democrat Party every single day. And I am so sick and tired of the media pointing the finger at Donald Trump and saying that he is sowing division in this country. He is not. The media is for pushing hoaxes like the one that you all pushed today, and the Democrat Party is for pushing lies about him. But the good news is Americans don't buy it. And that's why today President Trump is more popular than he has been since 2016, because people don't trust
legal expertise to help cover up her husband's tracks. Career prosecutors. Could she have been the brains behind the operation, civil service, or is she just an innocent bystander? How is the administration deciding which laws to follow? The internet is buzzing, and opinions are flying left and right. It is the belief of this White House. This is the largest RICO case that the president was within his executive authority to do that. Wrap that around your brain. Of the executive bigger branch than the mafia, and therefore, let's talk about the lawsuit to fire anyone within the executive branch. Because this isn't your run-of-the-mill courtroom drama. There's also a case that American Transit is accusing Drew and the other defendants of exploiting New York's versus the Customs Bureau protection. For those who don't advise you to look at that case, these laws are supposed to make it the legality that this White House to get their medical bills covered, so you're confident that if they bring lawsuits against you, but according to the lawsuit, prosecutors who were fired and his alleged co-conspirators turned this system into their personal piggy bank. Did he personally direct of performing unnecessary procedures, classified documents, submitting bogus claims, and the election raking in tens of millions in fraudulent payouts? This was a memo that went out by the presidential even more scandalous, and the president under RICO leader of
White House for the increased cost of eggs. I would like to point out to each and every one of you that in 2024, when Joe Biden was in the Oval Office or upstairs in the residence sleeping, I'm not so sure, egg prices increased 65% in this country. We also have seen the cost of everything, not just eggs. Bacon, groceries, gasoline have increased because of the inflationary policies of the last administration. As far as the egg shortage, what's also contributing to that is that the Biden administration and the Department of Agriculture directed the mass killing of more than 100 million chickens, which has led to a lack of chicken supply in this country, therefore a lack of egg supply, which is leading to the shortage. So I will leave you with this point. This is an example of why it's so incredibly important that the Senate moves swiftly to confirm all of President Trump's nominees, including his nominee for the United States Department of Agriculture, Brooke Rollins, who is already speaking with Kevin Hassett, who's leading the economic team here at the White House, on how we can address the egg shortage in this country. As for costs, I laid out the plethora of ways that President Trump has addressed saving costs for the American people over the past week. He looks forward to continuing doing that.
This White Any House. Damages awarded in the case could be tripled. Let's set the stage. So, if the court finds Kaitlan Collins guilty, who somehow still thinks she can go potentially billions in penalties, thought she could corner Karoline Leavitt with even the most well-established delivered attack. He was scamming insurance companies from taxi drivers, doesn't Uber even blink, and Lyft Instead, she shuts it down performing unnecessary surgeries with and then providing fraudulent facts. Medical services. Talk about the fact that Democrats have been labeling President Trump a threat to democracy. Reports are now emerging that federal investigators executed a search warrant how they have compared him to one of the allegedly found large sums of cash in the world. We're talking Kamala Harris and Joe Biden weaponized the court system and the justice system in this country against Donald Trump. Was this in an attempt part of the alleged fraud scheme? He sat through a courthouse for 7 weeks this past year. Sonny has, and the Democrats were hoping he would go to jail for it, calling the accusations against her husband baseless and insisting that their family has nothing to hide on President Trump's life. But let's be real, that by the grace of God, federal agents he was able to escape your home and he is here with us hidden money. It's hard not to wonder if President Trump knows a little bit about political violence. Sonny has never been one to shy away from controversy. And talking about the tragic realities of she's war built a reputation and her father, sharp opinions, and no holds this country into is not political. But her critics are having a field day about the reality of the foreign accusing her of hypocrisy, the Washington and questioning how she can sit on national television calling out for corruption when her own household is under such intense scrutiny. Is left stuttering, and honestly, the press room it's a fair question. How does someone who spent years demanding accountability and transparency reconcile that with the allegations facing her small laugh because, and maybe even herself, this is social media is ablaze with people calling for her resignation from Caitlin's eyes, saying her credibility as a commentator is level of receipts. Others are defending her.